so glad you brought that up. I think that's intriguing, and I could see how that, it's one of those things that while it might, while in some cases, some people might say, well, it's actually a past life. In some cases, that the way you describe that kind of genetic memory, that's fascinating. It could actually account for a great many cases. And I think it's certainly possible because there's so much we don't know about the brain and the mind. And people have, I think that's brilliant.
For an example, I was raised in the South, and my ancestors are all Southern people. And when I was younger, I was very, I guess you'd call me racist. So I worked through all of that, and over the years. But anyway, but my ancestors were almost 100% sure was part of the Confederacy and probably fought for the Confederacy. And I'm wondering if that genetic memory, and I wasn't raised by people that are, gung-ho, racist or Southern or whatever. I wasn't raised in that Southern atmosphere. I was raised in the South, but not necessarily Southern, But I'm wondering if that the genes played a part in me being drawn to the Confederate view of life, the Confederate cause, and all that when I was younger. And I noticed
it's really interesting theory.
A lot of people live in the South that are very liberal. Still defend the display of the Confederate flag and Confederate monuments and stuff like that. And so it's just something to think about. I don't know.
I think it's got some. I think it's got some credence to it because it could explain things like genetic predispositions within a family if there is some DNA cellular memory going on, because there can be genetic predispositions to different types of diseases. You can find something in what's called the family morphic field, and Robert Sheldrake wrote an interesting book about that.
What kind of field?
The family morphic field. So
Rupert Sheldrake, yes,
Yes. So as an easy example, I've got scoliosis, which is curvature of the spine, and I just find that really interesting that so often runs in families, and it even tends to pass down through the maternal side. So it's females much, much more often have scoliosis. And my mom has a mild case of it, and both my daughters do too. And one of the wonderful healers that I work with personally and go and see for sessions from time to time is a woman, in fact, she's been on Rich's show before, Jude Ponton from Whispering Dragon, and she's what I would call an energetic chiropractor. She started as a traditional chiropractor but became an energetic chiropractor who uses matrix energetics and sound healing, and we worked on that in a session, and I said, okay, granted, I'm clear that I have scoliosis, but I don't need to suffer with it. I don't need to have pain from it, discomfort from it, lack of, function, etc. And can we look at this from a family morphic field? Because it would sure be great if my mom didn't have to have issues with it and my daughters didn't. Can we clear this from the family morphic field? So Jude was one of 2 or 3 people who had mentioned that Robert Sheldrake book to me. And we just worked to clear that energetically from the family morphic field, because that kind of ties right in with, is that, then in the genes through the family. Because I believe all energy can be healed.
How about you, Wendy? Yeah. Did you have any tragedy in your early childhood?
I had a brother who passed on when I was a child. I would consider that, kind of a tragedy and something unusual.
But was it traumatic for you, though?
Yes and no. He was born with major mental retardation and had to be institutionalized. So I would consider that more of a tragedy rather than his passing.
Right, I understand. And you were raised religious?
No, I was not. I was raised as Protestant, and it was a very joyful, easy. There was not a lot of dogma. There was not a lot of indoctrination. So I'm very fortunate that I got to skip over a lot of the negativity that can be restrictive for people. I got the good part. I got the the fun Sunday picnics and grandma singing in the choir, and just a lot of the positive.
Yeah, well, in the interest of full disclosure, psychology is my hobby, and birth order in particular, personality theory, and so
I love that.
Forgive me. I'm kind of asking some survey questions here.
No, that's absolutely fine.
But yeah, it's really interesting stuff, and there's something going on, and we don't know about it. I know that because I don't know if you heard about it, but before 9/11, they had these sensors set up all around the world to pick up energy. Did y'all hear about that? And
yes, and many psychics predicted 9/11.
About a week or two before 9/11, the energy level all around the world spiked. And it kept, it spiked just before 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's something that's going to be kind of hard to explain away if it's true. If it's
Jan,
not
I think you're familiar with Carl Jung and the collective unconscious. I think that mankind on a subconscious level had a precognitive awareness of 9/11, perhaps.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's a very good theory, and I do think that I like Jung's ideas, and the idea of the universal unconscious has a lot of validity, I think, and it helps give us context for many of these things that we find difficult to explain.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll let you in on a secret.
Okay.
I knew something was going to happen before 9/11. Something big.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know? Tell us more about that.
It was a feeling. Well, I know about world events. In my case, it was because we were due payback.
I see. So you're saying that based on your it was an expectation based on your knowledge of world of international affairs.
Yeah,
okay.
I can't call it premonition or anything like that, but I'm not the only one. Apparently, people all over the world had a feeling that something was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But when it did happen, I said to myself, I knew it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a theory, too, of countries having karma, not just individuals. And I don't view karma as punishment. I view karma as writing scales. That you need to come to balance, and that karma is a teaching tool. And much as I love the United States, I was not born here. I was born in Canada. But as much as I consider it a privilege to live here, and I have a choice where I can live, I do believe that there are issues with the U.S. having been at war almost every year since our inception, and we were born through revolution. So I do believe there's a lot of karma that we're settling out, and how interesting we're having this conversation on Canada Day, and in 3 days it's going to be 4th of July. So that's, there's a lot going on with the energy of countries, and both countries are Cancer as their sun sign. So there's just a lot of numerology and just a lot of different theories that come up around all that, what you're bringing up.
Yeah, did y'all ever watch Lunch with Bokara?
No.
On the PBS, I mean, what was it? I'm not sure where. Anyway, they had this scientist on there, and this preacher woman, and they would get people together and discuss things. Anyway, this scientist said that when you look at the smallest organism, like let's say, for example, a human cell, then that's not the end. You go past that and you look at something smaller, and you go past that and you look at something smaller, and you get into the subatomic level, and you keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and until there's nothing left.
Well, Henry, in past shows, Wendy and I have talked about, at the bottom line, everything is just energy. And so we're all interconnected on an energetic level.
It's energy.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yep. Yeah, we're just letting our energy talk for us.
Yeah, I think we lost Northeast Texas. I'm not sure, but he'll probably call back in if we did. But Jan, this has been fantastic. Tell us more about where your books are available.
Well, they're all on Amazon. If you look up my name, Jan OLANDESE, and you just look under books and type my name in, you will get all three. One is Rest in Fleece, Ghosts, Tall Tales, and Horror Stories. One is Death Be Not Loud, Ghosts, Haunts, and Tall Tales for Restless Nights. And my nonfiction book is called About Ghosts, a Useful Handbook.
Jan, can you spell your last name for the listeners?
Yes, Jan also has a blog, a WordPress. Could you tell us about it, Jan, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get over here just a minute.
While she's doing that, I will tell you that it is known as bookemjanoblog.wordpress.com.
Yes.
So if you go onto WordPress, you can find her there as Bookem Jano, which I absolutely love. Just like the title of your book, Rest in Fleece, and there's a lot of humor in her ghost stories as well, which makes it very easy for the reader to relate to.
Yeah, they are funny, I think, but some of them aren't. That some of them are quite amusing and that's because I don't know. I'm a Sagittarius, so I go for humor. What can I say? But yeah, my blog is. Again, Bookem Jano. It's bookemjanoblog.wordpress.com, and I put something up every day. Sometimes a haiku, sometimes some of the kind of things we've been discussing today. I'll be putting up some stories, So, and I welcome people to check in. It would be wonderful to have you all read up.
What was the name of that nonfiction book?
Oh. My blog is called, it's Bookem Jano. It's like Bookem Dano except with a J. bookemjanoblog.wordpress.com.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh.
And everyone, the names of her books are Death Be Not Loud, Rest in Fleece, and About Ghosts. And
Thank you.
I close the show out in about 5 minutes, I'm going to give Jan the last 5 minutes to make a final comment or statement. If there's a final thought or word of advice that you would give to everyone concerning ghosts and ghost research, what would it be, Jan?
Well, I don't know if I give it advice. I guess what I'd say is, one thing I think that is important, and I mention this in my fiction stories, but I think it's really important actually in nonfiction life. Go with your gut. If you go into a place and you get a negative feeling about it, if you feel like it's, bad energy, don't hang around. Don't be there. Don't be like the people in the haunted house stories that they stay in there and like the Amityville people, terrible things happen. If it's bad, leave. you know, that would be one thing. And don't be afraid of in general, if you know, most things are not going to be dangerous or bad, so try not to fear it, try to learn about it. And if you want support, there's, you know, you can email or write me on my blog, or you can, and also I have an email that I can be written to at, and it is ghostpertise, that's GHOSTPERTISE @gmail.com. So you can, you know, ask me about stuff. You're welcome to. And there's plenty of people out there who are for support and encouragement. Don't, you know, if something's, don't let something be scary.
Jan, I want to thank you for being our guest tonight. Jan OLANDESE, Go to Amazon and check out her books. Wendy, thank you for calling in. Henry, thank you for calling in. For all of our listeners tonight, we appreciate you being here.
Thank
everybody
you.
Everybody have a great evening. Great super evening, and everybody have a happy July 4th.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.